Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how I do my customization of a single anterior. They always say that's one of the toughest things to do, but I'm going to show you a few tricks and tips that I use if I'm doing a single anterior for a VITA SUPRINITY. Okay, this is basically the VITA stains and glazes that I use. I know there's a lot of different stains to choose from. These are the typical ones I like to use and I get great results. Okay, so here we have our VITA SUPRINITY crown, kind of more like a veneer. Didn't wrap it all the way down on the lingual. We are going to peg this. We're going to use our VITA pins. Love these pins. They're much nicer than the platinum pins we used to use. It is not Emax, so you don't have to fill up the entire internal. You just put a little bit in there and then you support it with that peg. Okay, so there we have it, sitting on a peg there. That's all we need. Okay, so here we have our mixed stains. We have our glaze. This is our paste fluid. So the first thing we do is we're going to glaze the entire crown. Much like when we're doing CEREC, we want to start with big movements followed by small movements. But you know, you can spend a very short amount of time and get some really nice aesthetic results, and it looks like you've spent a long time doing customization. But much like with CEREC, we start with big movements, so we're going to glaze the entire tooth, painting always down towards the margin because you don't want to get glaze or anything coming up underneath that crown. So there we have it. We've glazed the entire tooth and it looks quite nice. Next thing we will do is we are going to use our, what shade is this? We use the ESO5, and I find this is a nice shade, and we can do our body stains, and if you watch, we're staining the apical third of that tooth. And again, we can always thin that out if you find that's a little bit too intense, but I don't find it is. And we're going to paint up into the interproximal about a third of the way up, and also about a third of the way up on the crown. Now, that looks fine, but also what we want to do is we want to bring that stain and glaze, bring that ESO5 up into the body. Not at the edges, but in the center of it. And that gives that tooth a lot of characterization, because when you think about it, that is dentin underneath there, and we need to create that aesthetic, that there is that dentin. I find with the VITA shades, it's not too intense. So that's good, we've done that. Now let's talk about doing some incisal translucency here. So incisal translucency is a little bit counterintuitive to what you would think. By what we call it, incisal translucency, you would think that we would put it right at the incisal. We actually don't. So I'm going to take some blue, and I'm going to take that blue, and I'm going to put a couple little lobules below the incisal edge. Not at the incisal edge, but below it. Because if you look at a tooth, any tooth where there's some incisal translucency, it's actually not right at the edge. The edge has a bit of a halo effect where you see a little bit of white, and we're going to do that next. So there we go. There's our blue, creating that incisal translucency. Beautiful, love it. Now we're getting to smaller movements. Now I did have an endo file. See, I'll use my endo file, and I'm going to take some white. So I'm now going to take that white and I'm going to drop a line in our line angles, and that just gives us that nice halo effect around this tooth. So right down those line angles, and it really gives some definition to that tooth. Now what you can do, if you've looked at the tooth and you find that that person has some crazed lines, well then this is a great stain to be doing that with too. Now I will also take some white and I will drag it right across the incisal edge, and that just really helps me define that halo effect on this tooth. What I've done with a few interesting cases is if they have actual fracture lines, you know, fracture lines, and they'll pick up stain, then I will mix a really dark stain, more like a mahogany type of stain, and I will take my endo file and I will drop that line, and we can create some very, very cool incisal fracture lines. And that didn't take long. So we're now at this stage where we're ready to put this in the oven. So here we have the final result of the VITA SUPRINITY after it's come out of the oven. I hope you can appreciate the gradation of shade through there and the incisal translucency. We've also put a little fluorosis in it. And sometimes you need to do this for a single anterior custom. Hey guys, thanks for watching the tips and tricks for VITA SUPRINITY and customization.
Looking forward to see you guys next time.